After being asked a handful of questions in person of why I'm doing something, how I'm doing something, why I'm doing it, I thought I'd address a lot of that, kind of starting on this episode. I've kind of talked about it on the roof, but not a whole lot. So let's start with this section. So obviously the jelly was used as a stronger adhesion, a stronger product than the lightweight body filler. Lightweight body filler is just a skim layer. This was technically within reason of the body filler, but I just feel more comfortable using something like this. The jelly bonds better. It's just more rigid, so we won't have that whole flaking out crap like they did before, which the reason they did before is surface rust was underneath it and caused the whole panel to just kind of fall off. So I started with it. I've almost got this shaped in perfect. You can tell. So there's a little spot that's not sanded. It's not perfect. It's barely out. There's still a little bit left, but it's just barely out. I'm not worried about that. But what I did discover is, like, when you're sanding, you should at least kind of have variation lines that are straight. But you can see here, I do not. I took this down before taking this down. That should have not happened. My variation line would have been, basically, you can see right here, where all the filler, the jelly, should be in that line. But it's not. So that lets me know that's a high spot. Now it's just barely high, like I can't even hardly feel it at the time. So, to get that shaped in, it was really high down through here, not so much right here. I think that could just be the angle I'm hitting that coming across it. But I'm going to go ahead and take this whole line right here and move it in just a hair. So I think I got it nice. I could continue sanding on this if I want. I don't need to because this is low. It's less than a 1/16 of an inch low. So I'm not worried about it. I think I've got this spot on. And it's time to actually put body filler over the top of it. Now, I won't leave this like this. I'll come through. I've got probably a loose piece of sand, 40 grit here somewhere. I'll have to find it. And I'll scuff all this up, just to make sure that the filler has something really good to stick to. And then when I start sanding down the filler, that's where I'm really going to make sure that everything, all the curves, because you're talking about a multi-compound curve. It curves kind of over and then under, and then bends this way at a different angle here to here. You know, the, I guess, gradation of the curve as it curves, like starts out thin and then widens out as you go. It's like that with most cars, or at least most I've ever got my hands on. So it's just one of those things that when the filler gets on here, which I'm getting ready to put it on, that's where I'll really start making sure that everything's filing out perfect. Oh yeah. Oh God, tire kicker. Update on body kit. There is no update. No clue where it's at. No clue. Supposedly it's shipped. Still haven't got freight information. They haven't got freight information. I have no clue. Beats me. It's somewhere in between here and California somewhere. Hell if I know. Still, that high spot was still too high. I lowered it, and I just stuck my finger in there. That's nice. Oh well. I lowered it, and then when I went back through and started blocking again and taking down some of this high that was still being created, or that was still created with the filler, started knocking into it, and as I knocked into it, that high spot that I lowered still was too high, so I had to lower it some more and fill it again. what you saw me doing there is I cleaned up all the seals, and where there was any damage from rust, I don't care how good of a wire wheel I got down in there and got all that rust out, I went ahead and taped it off, and I went ahead and did the whole front half of where the windshield is, because there were specks all throughout it. Now, I don't think it'd ever come back, but imagine one little dot of rust, and in a handful of years, the dot's going to be a quarter size, and it's going to start eating through seal, or not the seal, but the metal, and then just ruining all of this work. And I really don't want to come back in a couple of years and have to pull the windshield again and have to repaint half the car. It's just not worth it. It's best right now to just go ahead and put the rust converter on it, and then I've got a rust preventer that I'm going to put over the top of it, and then you'll have the sealer and the primer layers and all that other stuff protecting it too. So that is the objective behind everything you've been seeing me here this whole last hour and a half of cleaning all the seals up, back down to bare metal, making sure all the rust is out, making sure everything's good, because the rust was out before, but I just want to make sure. And this stuff will leave a nice like black layer, but I'll go ahead and let this dry, spray another coat on it, and then peel the tape, because it says do 2 coats just to make sure, so I do 2 coats. It also says only use a wire wheel, or not a wire wheel, a wire brush will suffice. Well, I prefer to use a wire wheel, and like the air tool you saw me using, or the electric one. Actually, I don't know if I recorded the air one, but I'll use the big wheel, knock off the majority of it, use another thinner big wheel with the air tool to kind of get down into the areas, and then use a really tiny, really skinny one to get down in like the 90 degrees. And then it's good. Everything's off of it, all the rust is out of it, there's no way it's coming back, but there's always that if chance. So might as well deal with the if chance right now so I don't have to deal with it later. Long dusty episode over. Went from a low spot to a higher spot. I don't know where it ended up going. I don't know where this episode's going to come from. I forgot to clear the memory card, so I've got multiple episodes kind of overlapping each other. And I don't know, it's going to be fun to edit. I was totally disorganized the last week that I've been recording. So, yeah. For now, I think we got enough dust for this episode. If not, I'll just take those 2 episodes, make them one, and just give you all a long episode. Whatever. Next episode is going to be real fun, because we're going to tackle the rest of the spot welds inside the car. And I say we, as in me and my brother. He's actually on his way out right now, and I don't want to jump too much. So he's going to come out here, he's going to help me try to figure out what the heck is going on, what I'm doing wrong, what I need to do, whatever. But the point is I've got to get some of this stuff cleaned up so that we can have the workbench back to weld on, and the interior all cleaned out to weld in there. So thank you all for watching, and we're going to have a lot of fun on the next one too.
Well, folks, it's time to kick it old school. So you can feel cool. Give it to me, baby. Baby. Yeah.